Hi everyone, so I'm here today with Thomas and Rachel from our qualitative team. And the topic we're talking about today is how to portray underserved audiences positively. So we know at Kantar, through the work that we've done with the Young Stereotype Alliance, through the work we're doing with GLAD and through other agencies, that portraying people positively and telling positive, nuanced stories isn't only the right thing to do, because it means that advertising can have a positive impact on society. It's also the right thing to do commercially. So when you get it right, your advertising is more effective as a consequence. So I know, Thomas, you, Rachel, and some others in the team, including Ola, have done a really great project looking at this through the angle of some of those underserved audiences, but also talking to creative agencies to look at both perspectives. So can you give us a bit of an overview of the project?
Yeah, absolutely, Lynn. So increasingly our clients have been coming to us with questions about how to better represent underserved audiences within the UK, but also globally. And so one of the things that we thought that we should be doing is making sure that we're on top of what's happening in this space, what the dialogue is, what the conversation is out there for now. And there's a tremendous amount of great work, great literature, a lot of good studies that have been done on this. But one of the things that we noticed quite starkly was that a lot of the work that's at the moment does one of two things. It either shines a light on the current state of play for the industry, or it focuses on what the end result looks like, i.e. this is how to get, this is what good is. And I think what we found is that it sort of says, this is where we are now, which is perhaps a long way from where we need to be. This is what good looks like. But how do we bridge the gap? So how do we actually help clients go from the current state of play to a better place? And so we thought the best thing to do was to sit down and speak to a range of agencies to understand what their challenges were, but also to speak to audiences who represent some of these underserved groups to kind of get their perspective. And in doing so, we really came up with a really lovely piece of work that shows how to bridge the gap between the two and how to really drive forward better representation with a message of hope for all parties involved.
Yeah. So I know there's a really rich, informative report that you've written that people can access. Could you just give us some, headlines, an overview of, if there's one thing people should take away, what should that be?
So the one thing that I think that people should really take away from this is that in spite of the fact that we spoke to people from a wide range of different audiences from different backgrounds who all had their own challenges and particular senses of being underserved or misrepresented or over stereotyped in the way that they were brought to life. The truth is that if we do one of two things, number one, always start with a human truth that transcends the audience that you are representing in the work that you bring forward. There is always an opportunity to ensure that you reach out and connect with a wide range of people, so long as you represent a protagonist, for example, or a group of people in creative work in an authentic way. And just getting up close and personal and meeting people to understand what their lived experiences are. It's just the best way to drive forward appropriate representation that represents all different audiences, but really connects with the mass market.
Yes. Yeah, that emotional connection is so important, isn't it? Because we know that people pay attention to things that make them feel something. So getting those stories right is so important. So Rachel, I know you've done a lot of work with clients in this space. So based on that, but also based on this project and the fantastic insights and understanding that it's generated, why would you say it's so important that people get their heads around this and take and implement actions to get it right?
Yeah, so I mean, we definitely heard that despite the amazing progress that has been made in the UK advertising industry, that there are still these stereotypes that are waiting to be broken, that are felt by these excluded groups today. But they are looking to brands and advertisers to continue to shift that narrative. And there is this feeling of hope, which is a really nice positive sentiment out there. But equally, there's that expectation on creatives, brands, to get this right. But two of the key barriers we kept hearing about were about the time needed and also the responsibility often being passed down the creative line. So we often heard there was too much time spent on ideation, not enough time spent refining the script, casting, production, and that responsibility to check I&D would often be passed down the line, right up until production, where timings and deadlines are too tight. So what we kind of heard was that a real kind of solution to this is, of course, if you can invest that time even further upstream before ideation, unlocking that human truth, understanding the human that you want to present by truly getting under the skin of their real lived experiences, you not only will achieve better outcomes with your advertising, but you will also alleviate those time pressures, that fear of not getting it right by having that confidence early on. And crucially, making those underserved people at the moment feels heard and feels seen in a really genuine, authentic way, which obviously is absolutely critical to brands and advertisers in terms of getting it right.
That's brilliant, Rachel. Thank you. So, Thomas, how do we help brands and agencies get it right? I know it's a big question, but
yeah, it is a big question. Well, look, I think here at Kantar we've got a long heritage in creative development work, which obviously is underpinned by our link framework, and qualitative is a really big part of this, right? So our job is very much to help agencies and clients alike, get to the key insights that underpin really good big ideas, strong ideas that can lead to really good work. And look, the bottom line is we love hanging out with people. We're curious, we're open-minded, we have a strong passion for great creative work. So in some ways, it's very simple. We are able to get in touch with, spend time with different audiences, different underserved groups in order to really understand what those true human insights are, as well as to help codify different ways to bring to life executions that feel right and good for these audiences, but also resonate with the broader market. And, I guess the final thing is to say is that, we're also passionate about I&D here at Kantar. So we've made great strides in our own internal I&D representation. I lead the Pride at Kantar ERG, and we have a range of ERGs that ensure that we are also walking the walk and talking the talk as an organization, which I think gives credibility and passion when it comes to reaching out to these audiences and helping our clients create better work in this space.
Absolutely. So thanks so much both. I know we've just touched on some highlights there, which doesn't really do justice this brilliant piece of work, but if people want to find more, that report does exist and they can access it in the link in this post, but also reach out to find out more. So whether you contact Thomas, Rachel or myself, we are here to help. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn.